When you're average, the feeling is better than how it looks. And I'm here to share that feeling with you. I'm James Beastie. This is the Good Ride. And this is the 2026 Never Summer Proto Ultra, a board that had a few major upgrades. First and foremost, it has setback inserts now, so it has very easy directional float for a true twin now in powder. So does the new Proto T3. Check that review out as well. Then secondly, they changed the carbon layout throughout this board, and it's a good bit softer in the nose and tail, but still has almost that same pop and drive, but it's easier to butter and play around with than it used to be. This is an excellent, very recommendable mid-wide board for people with 10 plus feet, or an excellent carving board for people with size 9 boots like myself. And while I do prefer the Proto T3's quicker turn initiation for all-day riding, this was hands down my favorite on clean, perfect groomers. This just lit it up. Now, I rode this primarily with my Union Force bindings and my Nitro Team TLS boots. I got this in a wide variety of conditions and compare it with a wide variety of boards. So I really got to understand this board and put it through its paces. And of course, you know, this is an honest, objective review for you, not for me to promote Never Summer. And I can do that thanks to the support from this excellent community we have here at the Good Ride, but especially thanks to Blauer Board Shop, a family-run business with a large online presence, excellent customer support, pricing, and shipping, and they've been selling to snowboarders longer than most resorts have been allowing snowboarders. So if what we reviewed appeals to you, it's greatly appreciated if you click through our links and buy through Blauer Board Shop. It really helps us both out. So when it comes to sizing, this 157 for a carver, this was amazing. As an all-day ride, it was hard to control this edge to edge as the conditions got more uneven. It got a little fatiguing. If I just want to open it up on clean groomers, this is amazing. For me personally, I wouldn't want to size down though to a 54, and I definitely wouldn't want to size up. That would be a little too much for me at 160, but personal preferences vary. For me personally, if I wanted a one board quiver, I'd rather own the Proto T3 because it much better fits my boot size, weight, and height in all conditions all day. Now, when it comes to shape, this is a true twin. You're centered on side cut. But if you have full-size discs and you want to set it all the way back on a powder day, you can get 2.75 inches back from center of board at a 22.25 inch stance width, and that really ups this board's versatility from just being an aggressive mountain freestyle twin to truly an all mountain board for those who like to ride centered on groomers and set back in powder, or even screw around riding this set back on groomers. It's not that bad either. When it comes to camber profile, this has what they call recurve triple camber. So you have camber that goes up pretty high directly between the feet, going to some passive bends that don't touch all the way back down, that then goes well past the inserts and has a little bit of early rise. Now, this is the most technical recurve camber they have in Never Summer's line, and for me, with this wider width and stiffer flex, it had some technical moments. So I'd say it's best for advanced expert riders, but still a committed intermediate that's maybe more of a 10, 10.5 could fit this board really well. And it's not going to be as catchy as they say because of this early rise in the nose and tail, but yet these passive bends make this camber feel like there's more than there is. So even though it's not super unforgiving, it has that pop and it tracks one footing, flat basing, just like full camber. So it's the best of both worlds. If you want something more forgiving though, the Proto Type 3 that replaced the Proto Synthesis is going to have a little more forgiving camber profile with a little less height, a little less aggressive feel, and easier flex. So that might be the better choice if you're an intermediate. Even a beginner willing to take some lumps, go that way. When it comes to edge hold, this multi-radius side cut combined with this aggressive camber just grips like it's full-on magnet traction. It's special for the reason that it doesn't grab in soft snow like full magnet traction does. You don't even feel you have a really grippy board there. So if you live on the East Coast and you love to carve, even when it's firm, this is a great choice for you. And when you go out west, you use these setback inserts and powder, you're not going to feel it grabbing, and that's a special thing. Now let's talk Proto Ultra Flex. It's definitely stiffer than the Proto by a good bit, and there's a lot more energy, and it's not as hard to access it as it looks by flexing it on snow. And when you get down to the tip and tail, there's a little more give. This tail has less give. It's pretty soft up here. So when you get to the rocker, it feels softer here on snow and even softer up into the tail. That gives you a lot more leverage than last year's Proto Ultra that was stiff from tip to tail. Then in the middle, it's really stiff. This stiffer flex matches the camber area throughout this board. And while this is still very stiff between the feet, it's a lot softer in the tip and tail than last year's Proto Ultra. I just want to talk about the change up to the carbon layout in this board. Before, it used to have an aggressive X right here, and then two more aggressive X's right here. It made the board incredibly stiff from tip to tail. So this year, they just have one big X here, and then they have this weave throughout the nose and tail, and it's thinner than the previous Proto Ultra. And what that does is it allows this board to butter a lot easier in the nose and tail than past years. I could slow down and butter with this thing, no problem. It's a nice change up. And this year it's a little bit easier to access that pop, and I like that. And it made it a lot more fun for somebody like me to ride. These passive bends load up this camber profile a lot more than you would think for its length, and this thing just launches. It's well beyond my ability level and far beyond my insurance policy, and this rides switch very well, especially when set up on reference, and it's true twin, so of course it would. If you're somebody like me riding this more as a drag-free carver with size 9 boots, this won't be very fun in the pipe, even though it has good grip. The Proto T3 for me is much better there. But if you're a mid-wide rider, like a 10.5, and you're riding in the pipe, this will be great. So everything but jibs, this is great on. And when you take this new flex personality into uneven snow, this is definitely a step up in terms of chatter absorption from the regular Proto T3. This could handle hard, micro-bumpy snow like a champ. The edge stays quiet. And then when you get into uneven snow and chunder, yeah, the old one's a little better, but this is close enough to where I won't complain. Now, when it comes to turning, this did not initiate a turn pretty quick for me. It was medium, and that's pretty good for what this is. And when I got this on edge, I could weight my turn any way I want. Front foot, center foot, or back foot weighted turns just light up with this. The spring out of the turn is exceptional. It has so much pop and drive. It's such a fun board for people who want a carving twin that they can now set back and powder. And what I like about this is I could circle carve this, not as easy as the narrower Proto T3 with a similar side cut, but across the groomer carves were great, down the line carves were great. I thought this deeper entry point right here might make this board feel a little hooky with more medium radius turns and then longer drawn out down the line turns, but I didn't feel it. Even with longer drawn out turns that are starting to become like a straight line where you really pick up a lot of speed for a sustained amount of time, this handled it no problem. And while the nose and tail did chatter a little more than the old Proto Ultra with recurve, it's still like incredibly fast for a twin. Base glide is great. It had a really easy glide to it. And the wax retention is really good. I never waxed this the whole time I got it, and look at it. It's still holding the wax pretty well, and we're already into summer. And when it comes to powder, having these blower inserts, what they call it, I call them setback inserts, It's exceptional. Sure, you have to have full-size disc or hybrid mini discs that can fit 40 mil apart inserts. And if you do, you're in for a good time because you're way further back on board. It gives very easy directional float, especially combined with this early rise before the nose in the same amount in the tail. If you want to ride this centered and throw it around mountain freestyle wise, you can as well, and it's going to have decent float. And I thought this was very good in powder. It didn't quite compete against the benchmark. That was better, easier, has a lot more rocker and a little bit more setback on board. But man, this was so good. And so was the Proto T3, even though it was narrower and didn't have as much float, 157 versus 157, because this is wider. It did an amazing job. And it's so much better than the old Proto Synthesis and all the other Protos before it, because none of them had setback inserts. So very cool to see. So overall, this is an amazing board. I truly enjoyed it. I don't know what to do with it though, recommendation-wise, because most riders will probably appreciate the regular T3 over the Ultra. But if you're more of a mid-wide rider and you want a stiffer board and you live to carve but you love twins, you like to set it back in powder or ride center in powder sometimes, you've got your choice now. This is an excellent board. It's the best Proto Ultra I've ever tried, and I've tried almost all of them.